Yes, the groupings of three, and three is an important number. The three, the Trinity, the three forces. It comes up a lot in nature. Before I go into the different groupings of three, which are very important to be aware of, and all of this is raising your awareness, is thinking about the dawning of the age of Aquarius.
Hello, everyone. I am Claudio Murgan, the host of the Spiritual Inspire podcast. Welcome back to a new episode. For all the interviews, please visit spiritualinspire.ca, gnostictv.com, and our YouTube channel. Today, I welcome for the third time Phillip Mountrose. Phillip, thank you for joining me.
Great to be back with you, Claudio, and the audience. Yeah, great.
Every time we meet, you have something new for us to share. And I think this time it's a new book, Awakening to Your Magnificence. So, what inspired you and Jane to write it?
It just came out as of this interview, and the inspiration for it, this new book, and Jane, my co-partner, co-founder at Awakenings Institute, which is our nonprofit organization, helping people create a more loving world where everyone's gifts are honored. That's our mission. Um, this time. We've been doing spiritual awakening work and spiritual healing work for many decades in holistic EFT tapping and spiritual kinesiology, which is a healing from the soul method. And we may get into that in different ways today. Um, but what the impetus, the awakening for this new book a couple years ago, and it takes a while to write a book because you get very clear and focused on this birth, this new information and tools and resources. Jane, my partner, had a angelic Reiki session, and at the end of it, an Archangel Metatron, the celestial scribe, a higher Archangel Metatron, came in. And she followed up the session with another meditation, and Archangel Metatron said, "You need to enlist your full range of resources." How does that sound, by the way, Claudio? A full range of
Interesting.
resources.
Yeah,
Does that sound
interesting.
inviting? Yeah, it
Yes.
certainly got her attention and mine, and that led us into going deeper into connecting with archangels like Metatron and Michael and Gabriel and Raphael. And there's other archangels you may not be aware of, and we'll connect with one today in the interview and do a channeling, which usually is very transformational. And where this took us, Claudio, is into these resources, these tools, which we've been exploring for decades, but going deeper into them and finding new ones. Because, as you know, and listeners know, this is a time of awakenings,
Uh,
time of many crises, and it's mind-boggling, and it can be very defeating and overwhelming, and that's part of what we're going through. We all know that. And so, what's the solution? What's the important thing for us to realize? In the new age, the age of Aquarius, as it's sometimes saying, this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the old hippie song. Well, it's actually coming true, going from me to we, this more communal connecting with like-minded people. It's not being the hero and doing it all yourself in the old Piscean age, although that's part of it, but it's using the new tools, the technology, the AI, all of that for good and for connecting us more easily and more profoundly together. And the tools that we write about in the new book, Awakening to Your Magnificence, subtitled, by the way, Your Journey into the Next New Frontier for Humanity, are tools like connecting deeper with your soul, connecting with archangels, higher guides, and masters, um, and connecting with the Akashic Records, the universal database, using oracles and tarot decks strategically, certain ones, to open up divine awareness and synchronicities, uh, and uh, and more, and opening the field of pure potential. And we'll explore a little bit of this going forward here.
yes, and again, I really enjoyed the book, and
Great,
I
thanks.
read about the new tools. And going back to the hippie movie you mentioned, is Hair the musical. I love that movie. I love the music. And for those who didn't
Right.
have the chance to watch it, please go and do it, and you will enjoy the music, the symbolism, and the final act of the movie is such has such power, and it moved me to tears many years ago, and it's unbelievable. And going back to your tools, in your book, you talk about the important groups of three awakenings to your magnificent, the title of the book. So, what are these important groupings to understand our evolution and spiritual growth?
Yes, the groupings of three, and three is an important number. The three, the Trinity, the three forces, it comes up a lot in nature. Before I go into the different groupings of three, which are very important to be aware of, and all of this is raising your awareness, is thinking about the dawning of the age of Aquarius. The theme is renewal and rebirth, and we're in this experience of renewal and rebirth right now.
And
And
sacrifice at the same time, because the last scene is about sacrifice and friendship, and liberation, pretty much.
yeah, letting go of the old and holding on to the old and opening the new, because we need to be in this very heartfelt, optimistic, hopeful, and more inner knowing place. Because, as I said, this is a day-to-day affair. This is not a given. This is something we need to do together. So, going back to the groupings of three, a couple groupings of three that we write about in the new book, Awakenings to Your Magnificence, is the different families you belong to. Now, we all know we have a blood physical family, which may or may not be part of the second group, your spiritual family, people who are connected to you on a more spiritual level. And some of us may be in a pretty isolated place with the way things are spread out and communities have been broken up, and there may be just different areas where people uh, some of these ideas may be rather foreign or strange or even threatening, although a lot of them are just not known to people in general yet because they're not in the mass consensus, but they are for people watching this, like you and me, in a growing number. So that spiritual family are people online or offline, just people that you relate to who get it. You don't have to speak in parables that they understand uh, where you are and where you're going, not in any kind of special elitist way, but just in a unifying way that even the people who don't get it, who resist you, you're opening up and offering a space, holding a space for them in a non-judgmental way. So that's your outer spiritual family, uh, different from your physical family, although they may overlap. And then third is your spiritual family. Those are the archangels, your higher guides, your soul, which existing on these different realms. And the whole impetus for this book and what we're perceiving here is that these tools are becoming more and more available because the veil is thinning. So just as we all know, there's a veil when we are born. In the spiritual realms, everything is very connected and clear and easily unified, even though there is a spiritual stages of growth that we're going through. And when we come here, we forget that, at least initially, and we are awakening to that because the morphic field, the general consciousness, what's out there, is much more available. And things that used to be very strange, like holistic healing, when I was, since kind of dating me, when I was younger, I would go to a health food store and I would be called a health nut. That was a crazy, weird thing to do to go out of your way to get health food. Now that's a given. I mean, you hear organic food is taught, is advertised on TV now commonly. So things are shifting and changing, and what was once strange and weird and outside the pale of the mass consensus, what is given and accepted, is now becoming more and more available. So that's one grouping, the grouping of your physical family, your spiritual outer and inner families. That's a grouping of three.
Yeah. And
And
talking about, sorry, go ahead.
there's another grouping of three, if you want me to go into that too,
Please go ahead.
that as we're kind of piecing all the puzzles together for this book, another grouping of three is your soul origins. Um, People kind of want to know their family origins, or if you were an orphan, or you probably want to know who your blood parents are. Well, what about your spiritual lineage, your spiritual parents, and where you are coming from? We can kind of relate to it if we're coming, our lineage is from the East or the West or from a certain country. But what about if it's coming from just in general, more earthly realms, an earthly existence? So you've tended to have experiences in different lifetimes, more on this planet. You're more of a native person too. You're in this planet, and you may have come even from a different realm, a star seed of a different wander from a different being. So that's one of the three branches from creation, you might call, that you're an unsouled species. So you might wonder, well, what else could you be? Well, and kind of in the different positions of God and the throne, like one side is the ensouled species like us, and then there's another one which you may have incarnated it as an angelic species, more from this pure light realm. And when you connect with someone who's angelic, you get that sense that everything is pure and innocent. Out at times naive, just there's such, how you're around someone who has that angelic presence and they just have this beatific smile, this lightness about them. It's just so natural. They're graceful, they're loving, they're non-judgmental. It doesn't mean they're not subject to difficulties and falling prey to problems like the rest of us, but you may know people like that. They just have that angelic, beatific way of being in the world. They seem to rise above things naturally. And the
Yes.
third way, yeah, go, Claudia, were you going to comment?
In fact, I interviewed Rachel Corpus, who is an incarnated angel, so I have that type of experience.
Right. And the way I characterized it, does that ring true with what you were experiencing with her angelic energy?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of a lightness of being. Uh, and then the third realm from God, the third kingdom you could be from is the elemental kingdom, elemental, the elements of nature. And people like that are very bound to the earth. They're very they may be very into doing crafts or jewelry or working with their hands. Uh, they have a natural groundedness. They like to create things. It's sort of a creator realm too, from creating from nature. Uh, and people like that just have a sense of are just drawn. And they may have past lifetimes where they're very connected with building things from nature and the nature spirits too. And they may love working with beads or pottery or with their hands, and they just have a natural affinity to all things natural uh, and of the earth, and respecting and loving the earth and creating with and from the earth. So that's another, and there's probably numbers of people. There's probably much smaller numbers, elementals and angelic kingdom origins too. And obviously, there's an intermixture of all this too. The fact that there people are incarnating on Earth at this time and throughout
Yes.
history.
Yeah, there are so many mysteries surrounding us, and we have to learn to see through the veil, understand them, understand them, and get the beauty out of it, enjoy this type of mysteries. And I'm going back to for a second to the first family, the physical family, because we are
Yes,
still in 3D and we have so many challenges. And I look online and I see the interaction between these different factions, different
right.
mindsets, and I reach the conclusion that somehow we lost our way of being objective. So I don't have to like a specific individual, either in politics or in entertainment industry, and I can be in disaccord with him 99% of the time. But if he does one good thing, I will accept and I will honor that one good thing. But those who are fully supporting that individual, where or sorry, against that individual, will say, why are you in agreement with that? I thought that you don't like he or she. Said, yes, I'm not necessarily don't like it, I'm not in agreement with her or his actions. But if in one instance they did well and I agree with that particular outcome, I have to accept that. I'm trying to be objective, and that's
Mhm.
not necessarily accepted in the society these days.
Right. You mean accepting people that you disagree with, their stances or approach to things, or
Yeah.
And that is a key to, I think, the age of Aquarius, how to make that bridge. And, some people may not be reachable, but we still need to hold that space open because you never know when people will open up. It may take them a day, a week, years to do that, but you hold that space for them. And that makes me think of a little exercise we could do now to hold the space for ourselves and for people who we might disagree with. And I like your point there, Claudio, to find something that we do agree with too. We might reject a lot or most of what a person is doing or saying, but we still can accept them as a person. And there's probably something that we can agree with too, even, to look for
Yeah.
common ground. Right.
So what's the exercise?
So a little exercise, and this is what we call opening up to the field of pure potential. Um, and from that place, we can then kind of go back to this discussion about dealing with people and finding our way. So you could put your hand on your heart and just start to breathe and just notice where you are with your potential right now. Kind of measure that where my potential 1 out of 10, 10 is total. Okay, maybe it's midway. I don't know how great you feel you can experience life and achieve things and be things. But now, as you put your hand on your heart and breathe, nice, slow breathing and noticing your posture. You may want to just straighten that up a little. And the nice slow breath in through your nose and a long exhale. And as you're breathing in more loving energy, and you say, I now open up to the field of pure potential where anything is possible.
Potential is possible.
And it's good to say, affirm that to yourself, or even better aloud. I
And
now open up to the field of pure
you know,
potential.
the field of pure potential, where everything is possible.
Okay. And then you can do what we call our reset process, part of our holistic EFT. We're just tapping on the top of your head, opening up the field of pure potential, integrating your left and right brain and breathing, and tapping on your heart, opening up the field of pure potential, integrating into your heart. And you pause a moment, integrating, connecting. And you can ask yourself a question about connecting with people that may be different from you, people you disagree with. What can you do about working with or connecting with the people that you disagree with, and just let your heart and that field of pure potential come forward to offer you suggestions or energy. Know that you can return and continually connect with this field of pure potential where anything is possible. And I'll count back up to 5 to bring you back. And opening your eyes, 1, 2, using this experience any way you want. 3, letting go of anything you don't want. 4, returning refreshed. with your eyes open, feet on the ground.
Thank you.
Yes. Did you get a message there about working with other people or being with other people?
Usually I get energy flowing through my body if it's a yes, and later on maybe a message will come.
Kinesthetic?
I am still working on receiving messages in the form of words. To me, pretty
Yes.
much is all energy, and I know when it's a yes, my body will shake, will tremor, will the energy will come through. So there is a yes that I can work with this type of people, and to me, it's just accepting the way they are, and just as we discussed, holding space and not being confrontational.
Those are good insights, and I do like your description because I know many people, I mean, everyone probably had some kinesthetic, visceral feeling of connecting with the field of pure potential, which may be very subtle, and especially if it's new to you in your body, in your awareness. And there may not be any words at first, and it may take some time to get words to it. And it's actually not necessary to do so. It's a nice thing to do if you feel inclined. I got two messages which I found very helpful from doing the experience we just did. And what can you do about working with or helping with or being with people who are different from you or kind of on different wavelengths and so forth. And the two suggestions were is I can listen and I can be myself.
Mhm.
I
Interesting.
can listen and I can be myself.
Yeah, we have to. I mean, if we don't listen, we don't understand what they are trying to explain, what are they are trying to transmit, and um, we have to be listening in order to be able to see their point of view. If we close ourselves
Right.
down, will just be a monologue from their side to ours, and then vice versa. And
Right.
we'll never cross that bridge if we don't listen.
Yes, and listening, especially what's called deep listening, this kind of active listening, is a sort of a skill set. Most of us are not born with that, so we have to develop. We need to do nonverbal language, like nodding your head, looking at a person in their eyes, maybe modeling the way they are looking. Some people call it copying, or building rapport, and it's in an authentic way, not like a little childhood Simon Says way, uh, but being because that makes a person feel comfortable and open up, and then they're willing to share and consider what you're saying if it gets to that far. So you want to use their words and gestures, head nodding, and even positions of your body will help them open up and know that you're listening. Because if someone, the listener here, if someone listens to you, are you going to be more apt to listen to them?
Yes.
Whereas if they're trying to change your opinion or change your mind or something, they're really kind of oppositional and not listening. They're resisting or almost fighting you. So what do you do back? Well, you resist to fight back. If they listen to you, what do you do back? You listen to them. It's natural, right?
Yeah. And another approach I took recently is I ask if I know that the opinion of my interlocutor is different. I will start by asking him or her, "Do you think we can have a discussion based on facts, logic, and common sense?" And if
Hmm.
she says or he says yes, then I'll start with the facts, and then
Hmm.
I'll go into the logic and common sense. If
Hmm.
she stops me from the first words, I said, "Look, you just confirmed that we can have a discussion based on these terms. If you don't want to continue, that's fine with me." And I will smile and we'll change the subject, or I'll
Yeah.
just walk away and we are still at peace,
Yeah, that's graceful. And I like that way of saying, hey, can we talk about things based on fact and evidence and things out there? That question, though, just to a caveat, important caveat to be aware of is that question would come after you've already been listening and built rapport. Because if you started off there, then again, the person would probably just oblige you and say yes, but really not be ready and willing to do it. But if you
Mm,
have built rapport and they said, gee whiz, he really listened to me. She really, heard me. I got that. Oh, okay, let me hear what she has to say.
mm. Philip, another concept in your book is the four direction readings. What is all about?
The directions are elements, and it's a way of doing a card reading based on the directions. So in the east, the sun rises, so that's a direction. What's rising? Um, in in the south, what's emerging? And in the west, what is new, what's coming forward, and in the north, what needs to be nurtured or repaired. So you can do different card readings, and we have one in the book, and people can use their own cards for nature to map out a sense of connecting with nature and also getting guidance for themselves.
And is there any connection with the medicine wheel from the indigenous traditions?
I don't know exactly the correlation. Obviously it's dealing with the elements in nature, which the medicine wheel does.
Mhm. Interesting. And also in the book, you talk about looking at the family from a multi-directional perspective and a multi-dimensional perspective. What exactly do you see the family evolving in the age of Aquarius?
Well, one of the best things we like to do about connecting with your family, and a lot of our issues are coming from our family in this lifetime, and it probably predates it to previous lifetimes. And we found maybe the best resource of using that for these new tools and resources, as we say in Awakening to Your Magnificence books, for enlisting your full set of resources. The best one we found is Akashic Records, the universal database. So something's in your family that's off, and that may, a lot of people. I was just helping a lady who had a difficult birth. She just was barely born. She's still dealing with it decades later, where she had a problem breathing and swallowing because of the contractions during birth. So, and yet this was also related to previous lifetimes as well. What happened in different difficult circumstances that reoccurred in this lifetime. And this are things that the soul plans out for us, which is easy to say, but hard to uh, hard to accept. I mean, it's easy in the other realms to say, okay, this is an area where I need help on. I think I'll just have a difficult birth and almost die during my birth. That's easy to say, like that'll really help me overcome this issue. Uh, I think one of the more interesting insights, and I'm getting back to the Akashic Records in a moment here, one of the most interesting insights is that these difficult challenges we go through, when we've completed them, we say, wow, I needed that challenge to get to this higher level. But while we're going through them, they're hell and hell in a handbasket, whatever that means. Uh, it certainly doesn't say, well, I'm glad I'm going through this, but that such is the nature of things and growth. And part of it is just waking up and becoming aware, because there's profound healing by becoming aware of why we're having this struggle, say, with our family. And going into the Akashic Records can be make a big difference. Um, and the universal database, there's different ways to access it. Just going into this field where all your past lives, your present life, and your future potential is there. They're record keepers like Archangel Metatron and other record keepers. And for those who've done past life hypnotherapy, it really is what you're doing when you go into past lives to find out the source of, say, a family issue. Um, Let me give you an example. And we wrote about it in our book. A lady, Clara, she was worried about her husband's commute to work. He would drive a couple, he still does, drives a couple hours every each way to work, and she was afraid something would happen to him. But and that would be normal to have some concern, but it was more of an anxiety. We know there's a certain objective thing like uh, it's raining outside and I need to be careful driving, or it's raining outside and I'm afraid I'm going to get in an accident. I don't know. I'm panic. That's a different level of anxiety of something that is objectively a little challenging, but over catastrophizing, as it's sometimes called in psychology. So going back to Clara, she drew some. We often like to do in our work with oracles and tarot uh, decks, and she drew an oracle card just before she went into the Akashic records to find out about this anxiety concerning her husband, and it was water. The card that had a picture of water, and the meaning on the card was purification or cleansing. Water is often associated with emotions too. And then we helped her go into the Akashic records. And what we like to do, Claudio, is help people escort them into the Akashic records for themselves. We're not so much, we're going to read your records, which could deprive you of the truth and the deep knowingness. Yes, I could read your records and get something about your records, but it's much more valuable, isn't it, if you get that for yourself and I'm there escorting you and adding on to the experience to help you be with the experience. So again, we took Clara after she drew the water card, the cleansing card, into the Akashic records, and she was in a different lifetime period, World War II, and she saw the person who was her husband in that period being deployed to the military to go into the military, and he actually died in the World War II. Now, her response in that lifetime was instead of working through that and using that and still going on to help herself and other people, she just ended her life. She couldn't deal with it. So that's all kind of there in her energy field now. And she's in the records, and uh, she got a sense of peace because, as I said earlier, just becoming aware of things when the veil thins is often healing enough, although we often do holistic EFT tapping and some of that energy healing, like we did earlier with the pure potential and the reset process. But sometimes, with Clara's case, she's in the Akashic field, she's in her records, she's seeing this other incident, this other former self from a clearer state, a higher awareness state. So she came back down and we completed the process with her. And afterwards, she felt much different. She didn't have this feeling because she remembered even like in this lifetime, now, one time her husband, there was a possibility he would have to go in the military service, and she became utterly panic struck and devastated at that possibility. But now she looked at her experience and her daily experience much calmer, much more peaceful, much more aware. So just sometimes this deep awareness and getting the materials, finding out how to do it, getting support, reading about it, can make all the difference.
So, in other words, it works like in hypnotic therapy or hypnosis, where if we face our fear, that fear in real life will melt away and we can continue our life less stressed out by having the awareness of what happened in previous life, correct?
Right. And I like your description, face the fear. And sometimes that's just recognizing it with open eyes, being strong enough, and realize that I just drew an oracle card today for myself. I'm going to pick it up. It's called Courage,
Mhm.
from because I do a sacred practice reading pretty much daily, as does my wife. And having courage when the storms, these are the waves crashing along the rocks there. Sometimes life takes courage.
Yes.
And when we're feeling down and feeling weak and overwhelmed, we can summon up that courage to face, as you said, face the challenges. And sometimes that is going to be reaching out and having people support us, or just reading a book, or watching a podcast like this one, or taking a training and knowing how to do it oneself, whatever level is right for you now, or a combination. And there may be some healing involved too, some healing processes to do it. So we live our lives more encouraged. Uh, Someone said they found out they had cancer, and felt bad and actually sort of apologized to their their wife. And then he said, "Well, if I'm going to have cancer, I might as well do it in the best state possible and be in the best place possible." And that I took that as a good example, a great example of being courageous about your life when you're facing difficulties.
And on the same line, to be on the best place possible can have dual meaning. Could be in a best place physical, okay, somewhere in the sun with the waves crashing and listening to that mesmerizing sound, with the right people around you. But the same time could be in the psychological and spiritual best place where your mind is at ease, your heart is loving, and you exude that vibration and frequency no matter what your physical status and condition is.
Right. And that well said. And that reminds me of a nice little quote from Johann Goethe, the famous German poet, philosopher. Take heart, uh, far worth, far worse hath thou endured. So that's something, this probably in our life, if you go into lifetimes, we've actually dealt with things that are much worse, although we may be at a certain low point. Uh, but and or other people, if just go to other people. And, the fellow said, I was having self-pity about not having any shoes until I saw someone who didn't have any feet.
Yes, indeed. And I heard of so many examples of people with incurable diseases. I mean, incurable by the medical system, and someone told them, come and spend a year with me on the farm. If you have to die, at least you're going to die in a beautiful place surrounded by nature and animals. And that guy said,
Mhm.
yeah, I will go. And
Mhm.
after 1 year, he was cured. So he started with a physical location, and then that transformed his spiritual and mindset, which affected his physical, healing him in the process.
Right. Yeah, it reminds me, I was just helping a lady the other day who we have a holistic ministry and we're a nonprofit 501c Awakenings Institute, our organization in the United States, and she's going to become a holistic minister. We ordain people non-denominationally as holistic ministers, and we often also offer divinity degrees. Uh, they're uh, uh, legally recognized here. They're non-credentialed, and so she's going to do that. So, and the reason why I bring it up is she's in her 80s and has a neurological condition where she has a short period of time. So I was looking at it through her eyes. What do you want to do if you know you have a short time to live? In a way, you could say that about all of us, but especially if you're, elderly and have a disease, and she just was very brave. She was very clear, she didn't fear death, and she was drawn to our holistic ministry and doing a degree program, a self-reflective, going deeper into her education, and it was living courageously, I thought.
Yes, and you never know how this work will affect her positively, and maybe she will turn that ship around and will be another example and case study for you to add into the next book.
Oh, could be, yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm wondering, would it be good to draw a card and maybe do a channeling, a tarot card,
Yes,
kind
please,
of
let's do
put
that.
a
Yeah,
summary and uh, an overview, like a nice way of synthesizing this,
please.
listing our full uh, resource kit as Metatron urged us, and I don't know what. So this is from Rodley Valentine's uh, Angel Wisdom Tarot, the major arcana of the wisdom, and the 22 cards. I'm going to just shuffle and draw one, and so you want to focus when you're doing a reading, and you can do it with tarot or oracles or both. And uh, the focus would be uh, what people need to know now about spiritual awakening. Does that
Yes,
sound
let's
about
try
right?
that. Perfect. Yeah,
What do people need to know now about individual spiritual awakening and group spiritual awakening, like we've been talking about? So the card that is going to answer this, the synchronous gifts. Okay, interesting. The Hermit. The Hermit.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So I just want to read the tagline that's part of this. Time spent in peaceful meditation and meaningful solitude. Shine your light as an example to others. Seek out or become a spiritual mentor. Self-discovery. And there's a angel depicted in this particular deck as this major arcana, major lesson. And the angel, which is depicted as Raziel, which is one of our favorite archangels, who has a rainbow of colors, often associated with a spiritual mentor, spiritual kind of a teaching guru. So he's going to teach us something about being a hermit in this wonderful, peaceful meditation and solitude for now.
Yes.
Anything that's coming up for you before I do a little channeling on it, and we'll go further into it?
No, I think we all have to go within, stay in silence as much as possible. I mean, when I meditate, really, I cannot, I have a hard time coming out of it, to be honest with you. And other people cannot do it for 5 minutes. So
Right.
we all have to look at our circumstances and what holds us back from not going into that deep silence and finding the right answers for ourselves.
Right. And it may be a walking meditation for some people. It might be easier just to take a walk, even in your neighborhood, or certainly a park or a nature area is great. And that may be your meditation. I also like to do, as I said, oracle readings. We teach people how to have oracle readings and use them with the Akashic records and other things in our spiritual guide program or healings programs. So using the oracles as a prompt, as a mentor, like we're doing right now, and then getting guidance. And you may not channel angels like I do, or you might, or you might learn it, or you just do writing, automatic journaling, or you could go voice to text. There's a lot of apps and uh, ways to go from saying something, even Microsoft Word and such, to having it written out, making it easier. Okay, so let's connect with Archangel Raziel associated with the Hermit. Yeah, which is interesting since he's the rainbow color. And there's a rainbow color in there in the middle if you can see
Yes,
it
I say it.
bursting
Yes.
forth. Okay, so let's see what Raziel can share with us. Thank you, dear ones. It's so wonderful to be here with you, and I shine my multicolored prism-like light on you all. Know that you all have every color of the rainbow within you, and everyone does. So this multicolored light is shining forth from everyone and everything, and you can find the light and the color that's right for you in this moment now. So know that we need all the colors to be a rainbow, correct? And all the colors come into the unity, the purified one light of oneness and whiteness and everythingness. And just feel that multicolored just unifying into oneness now. And know that even if your eyes are closed or you're in a meditative state, you can take that with you throughout your day. You may want to have a reminder of a rainbow or some image or stone or object that reminds you of this beautiful multicolored rainbow that you have within us, and know that everyone has it within them as well, period. You want to connect with the right color that they're resonating while you connect with them in the moment. Look for the color. What are they emitting? What are they beaming out to you now? Be with that and merge your colors with theirs to go forward in a multicolored, multi-dimensional rainbow journey through life. And we love you and we wish you the best, and we are here for you at any time. Archangel Raziel, thank you.
Thank you. I really felt the energy.
It is an energy, it's the words and the energy behind it.
Yes.
I'm going to be doing that, looking at people as I have my own inner rainbow and looking at where they are and their, what are they emitting, and maybe sensing a color, if not seeing a color.
Bill, we are towards the end of our interview. Let's remind our viewers about your programs and how they can reach you.
Right. Well, we have, as I said, our just released book at this time, Awakening to Your Magnificence. And uh, Your Journey into the Next New Frontier for Humanity, and that's on Amazon. And there's a free resource kit. We've been talking about the pure potential. It's really amazing for spiritual healing and awakening. And they can get this free kit, which has a holistic EFT how-to manual, uh, a free report on the super reality shift, which is part of this pure potential, and these demos, these healing demos, working with people. We've had amazing results, Claudio, with even healing people with chronic pain like tendonitis and even sometimes some cancer, as well as emotional relationships and things. So you'll watch when you get this free resource kit, Pure Potential Resource Kit, you watch us helping people heal their chronic pain and relationship issues. It's pretty amazing. So the free kit is at tinyurl.com slash pure dash potential. It's a shortened URL, tinyurl.com slash pure dash potential for your free kit.
Bill, thank you very much for everything you are doing. And just to remind my viewers that also our first interview is part of the upcoming book, Alternative Methods of Healing. In fact, the book will be out before this interview will air. So I am a big proponent on alternative methods of healing in general. And we discuss about several during this interview. And it's good that our host is a private network. Otherwise, we might be censored or deplatformed. So that's why I made the decision to stay on a private network that will allow me the freedom to speak about anything I want with my guests.
Great.
So once again, thank you very much to you and Jane for everything you are doing, and all the best.
Thank you, Claudio. Great being with you.
And to my viewers, thank you for watching. Share it, leave a comment, and until next time, love and gratitude.